I decided to sit for a second to let the thoughts percolate before I started this one, and I got nothing. Sorry,
Okay,
it's late. We're recording really late tonight.
you're good.
Um,
Let's just like let's rip through this one.
let's rip through this one.
That's not much to talk about.
All right,
So
so we're talking about The Incredibles. No, we're talking about The Instigators, direct to streaming Matt Damon, Casey Affleck, Hong Chow movie. We're flying right through this one. What do you guys think?
I thought it was
It-
perfectly fine. I don't. It's an It's a direct to streaming Apple TV movie. Like even Napoleon got a theatrical release. This one went straight to Apple TV Plus. Probably for good reason. It's a perfectly fine movie to put on for me at least, and kind of space in and out. It was nothing special, but it was entertaining. I enjoyed
Yeah,
it. Just
I
wasn't.
think I think like I would say that's a fair review of it, which is like it's fine. To me, it's kind of bad just because you have like two good actors and the movie to me is just kind of boring a lot of the time. Like there's some fun parts, but like there's a lot of space where it's like the pace is off. It just doesn't feel like even a generic, movie like that. Like a generic movie would do better pacing job.
Yeah, I think the word that comes to mind for this in the canon of heist movies is generic. It hits all the story beats that you wanted to. Um, Not a whole lot goes wrong for the heroes. I mean, they get some setbacks, but it's pretty straightforward and
No,
laid out for them.
it's like it
Um,
doesn't know whether it wants to be a comedy.
you've got two Ocean's Trilogy veterans leading your cast, so maybe they sort of relied on the chemistry of Matt Damon and Casey Affleck to carry them, and they did have very good chemistry, I thought.
Yeah, but you need some material.
You need some material. Yeah, I'll always enjoy a heist comedy. I enjoyed this. I thought direct to streaming was a good place for it. I don't think this needed a theatrical release. I don't think this needed a
Yeah.
lot of promotion. It kind of almost feels like Matt Damon and Casey Affleck had nothing to do in Boston for a few weeks or a couple months, and Matt Damon called, who was the director? He did the Bourne movies,
Doug Gleeman.
Doug Liman. Thank you. He gave him a call and said, "Hey, I'm in Boston for a few weeks. Casey Affleck's here. Let's do a heist movie or something. I don't know." And they did this, and it was fine. It was fun at times. Hong Chow is
Yeah, there were definitely moments where I was
fun,
having a blast. It's just like they intercut that with moments of absolute banality. Like nothing happens. It's just they're just like, doing typical Boston like slang, doing some one-liners to each other.
but
It's like,
it's all Casey Affleck doing the one-liners. Matt Damon
yeah.
is playing this so straight.
Yeah, he's a very straight man in this.
Like I feel like he could have leaned into the absurdity of it, given that it was his first time pulling a job,
Though,
especially as things got into a sort of a bigger scale than what he was expecting at the beginning.
yeah, I enjoyed it like in the beginning where he just kept saying, I have a gun. I mean, there were definitely some moments that were like good. It's just they're intercut with such tension, like dropping scenes that I don't. It's like it's a funny laugh and then nothing. The beat does
Yeah,
not
and
drop.
90% of the laughs were driven by Casey Affleck, who was
Yeah,
very funny in this movie.
I enjoyed him at times. At times, it was just like there's nothing going on. Casey Affleck is just talking.
Yeah, it's just very dry. Like
Yeah,
it didn't really.
there's probably at least 5 minutes of Casey Affleck just saying nonsense um, to take up time. And it's an hour and 40 minutes. Like it's noticeable. It's like there's just tens of seconds where nothing happens.
Yeah, the pacing is all over the place in this one, but it doesn't feel bloated at an hour 40. Like, forgive me if I'm misinterpreting what you were saying, Ben, but
Well, it's
it
not.
doesn't feel
There's
like there are
nothing going
long
on.
drags of nothing.
Yeah, there's nothing going on, so it can't be bloated by anything. So, I
Right.
mean, you
It
have like
didn't
a
like
very low key corruption plot. Like everything is very like bare bones in terms of plot, and then you just have Casey Affleck and Matt Damon essentially riffing off each other. Mainly, it's Casey Affleck just saying
they're
things.
playing themselves pretty much.
Yeah. And is Gronk in this movie? I thought I saw him.
Yeah,
Gronk,
He's the guy that's saying 4 more
he's
years, right?
yeah,
he's in the movie in the first 5 minutes, never comes back.
yeah.
And yet his one scene of chanting 4 more years, I watched the trailer right before I watched the movie. It's so prominently featured in the trailer.
Hmm.
Like, oh, I'm this Gronk's gonna be in this
But they
movie.
really
And
built
then
up this
instead
plot.
we get 20 minutes of Jack Harlow who does not know how to act at all.
I Yeah, Jack Harlow was absolutely terrible.
It was atrocious.
Absolutely awful. I am glad they killed him. Um I mean not in real life, just in the movie. He's not a good actor, right?
His character was completely unnecessary, and it was good to kill him off in the first act.
Yeah.
So this is the third movie we've done with a musician, I believe, that gets killed.
They're terrible. Just don't let them
And
in,
we've
please.
done Amsterdam, we did Bullet Train, and we've done this one where a musician gets killed.
Um,
Not sure.
I
Oh no,
maintain that
funny.
that scene in Amsterdam with Taylor Swift is a top three funniest moment in any of the movies we've ever done on the pod.
It's because it comes out of nowhere.
It's
Yeah,
completely
it's
out
It
of
comes out
nowhere.
of
it's
nowhere.
probably the best scene in the movie, to be honest.
Ben, you want to spend the
Completely.
next half hour talking about Amsterdam and your
No, no,
glowing
please,
review of it?
God, no, please. Actually, this movie felt like Amsterdam at times where nothing was happening.
Oh,
People are just
okay.
riffing off each other. Like in Amsterdam, they like relied on their cast a lot.
They had a great cast.
Yeah, I mean they had better chemistry, but it was still you can't do that in a movie like this. Like the plot needs to be at least a little bit complex, and instead we get literally the most plain corruption plot I've ever seen. They
It's
literally just go to a fucking his office, and he's got a giant um
Safe.
uh safe full of money. I mean, come on.
And then it gets mysteriously like unaccounted for at the end and passed on to the new mayor elect. Like, okay, all right.
yeah, the corruption plot, like, either do the heist or do the uncovering the conspiracy. I feel like they tried to put the two together and each one felt a little like underdeveloped, if
Well, it's
that's the
because they
best way
spent
to
half the
describe it.
time just like riffing off each other. So there was not enough time for any plot to develop. It was just two guys who had absolutely no idea about this whole corruption plot,
And one of them has a
trying to
gun.
figure out. Yeah, exactly. So it's like they seem to be confused as to what type of movie they were trying to make.
I watched
Doug
an
Liman
interview.
specializes, I think, in action. Of all of the movies that he's done,
So
he did really well with like the spy, thrillers and The Bourne. I would have thought that he would have just done something a little more complex, though he didn't write the film. To be fair,
so I haven't seen the Bourne movies, but I did watch an interview that Doug Liman gave uh during the junket for this film. And he talked about how he sort of made Matt Damon into an action star by casting him in the Bourne movies and then sort of developing him in that world over the course of 4 or 5 movies. Uh, and now bringing him here into this movie, he was like, I get to work with another side of Matt where he gets to really show off what a great comedic actor he is. And then I'm sitting there watching the movie, and I'm thinking, Matt Damon's not the funny one here. Like he has a
I
couple,
think
like I have a
I
gun
think
is
he's
very
funny in a few
funny.
ways, but like he doesn't talk enough, and they baggage him too, right? They baggage him with the psychiatrist, and it's like you're dealing with internal traumas, and oh, he's got to deal with his son. It's like how much fun can you have with this depressing ass plot? You have to think about this sort of thing. There's just a lot going on, and a lot
Max,
of it just clicks with other stuff.
Max, I know you've seen season one of Shrinking on Apple TV.
Yeah,
Ben, I don't know if you've seen it.
is that the
Um,
Harrison Ford one?
Harrison
Hmm.
The
Ford, Jason
Jason
Segel.
Segel. Yeah, I think I saw that a few episodes. I haven't finished it,
Okay,
but I should.
so the
I enjoyed
for those who don't know, the series is about a psychiatrist who decides to sort of bend but not break, and then entirely break the rules of ethics when it comes to doctor-patient relationships, and fully involving, like Jason Segel's character fully involves
it.
himself in his patients' lives. And he's completely honest with them. He tells them what he actually thinks rather than what he should be telling them to do or say. And I think what we get out of Hong Chau's character here, here's the connection, is that she sort of fully involves herself in this plot. You know, she's a willing hostage. She goes along with everything that they're doing, Matt Damon and Casey Affleck. But as a character, she's not developed enough to really add anything to the heist. She's just
Well,
sort of there to go ahead.
she's another straight man, right? Like
But that's
she's
already taken by Matt Damon.
yeah. So you have two straight men in a comedy. That's never gonna work. You just have Casey Affleck saying things, which is what the movie was. Um, yeah, I mean Doug Liman is not a comedy actor. Actually, I don't know what he's done
I'll pull
aside
up the
from.
letterbox.
But I mean, regardless, the comedy here is just really lackluster because there's too many straight men. There's somebody, Ron Perlman's doing his corruption plot. It's very
Ron
serious.
Perlman, cast as the mayor of Boston, is one of the choices that has been made for film.
That was weird as hell.
I
He's
I could
angry.
not
He's just
let
angry all the
him.
time. Well, he's also like Italian or something. I don't know what the hell is going on in this
So
movie, honestly.
this is our second Doug Liman movie of the year. He
What?
did
Oh, right. He did Roadhouse.
Oh,
did Jake
wow.
Gyllenhaal's Roadhouse.
And you know what? You can say similar criticisms. It's like there's nothing going on. It's just absolutely bare bones plot, the
I've seen,
most typical generic plot possible, and the characters cannot make up for it because they're not good enough, and the writing's not good enough.
Oh my God, he did The Wall.
he did Mr. and
Yeah.
Mrs.
Oh,
Smith,
that's a
which
different
I
one.
loved. Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie in that movie, I think the
But
most
again,
attractive two human beings have ever been.
yeah, that's held up not by the film, but by the pure chemistry and crazy romance that they had. Well, Brad
Sexiness.
Pitt was married and everything.
So Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I've seen. Fantastic, loved it. Roadhouse, bust.
Oof. Oof.
Uh, Chaos Walking with Tom Holland and Daisy Ridley. That was like the COVID movie.
I never saw it.
It was
Never
not
saw it.
good. It was like it was okay. The science fiction concept was there. It just was not executed at all. And Mads Mikkelsen kills a dog, so did not enjoy it.
Oh, oh God. All right. I hate Doug Liman now.
Yeah. Um, I've seen Swingers with Jon Favreau. It was good because Jon Favreau wrote it.
Hmm.
And then he did a movie, another COVID movie with Chiwetel Ejiofor and Anne Hathaway called Lockdown.
Oh, I saw that.
Okay,
It was that was an HBO movie.
it was.
Yeah, it was also like this, just
It was
like
kind of
Fine.
like a
but
heist movie,
but it
but
but it kind of worked a little bit better just because the whole premise was about being locked down and then like they obviously get out of lockdown because that's like
You
the
needed the
main
movie to
point.
happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I
But
guess to be
so like
fair, like Bourne, I give him credit for like a spy thriller, but it's really not a spy thriller. Like the entire thing is just Jason Bourne fighting people and escaping somehow. I mean,
trying to
it's
figure
well
out who
done.
he is.
It is well done, but a lot of his stuff recently, it's missing something. I don't know. Maybe they're
He's got
taking the wrong takes. I don't know.
some range as a director,
Well,
not
I
a
mean, you
lot,
can
but
do anything,
some.
right? To be good at something is a little bit different, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
I
I mean,
wouldn't
I know
exactly.
I'm a good film director because I've been awarded for my work, but that's just me.
Critically acclaimed George Berthier.
Humble brag. No, it was just a straight up brag.
Oh yeah, the other plot in this movie is just actually Boston. It's just Boston. They mentioned so many things in Boston where I'm like, oh yeah, all the guys in
God,
Boston
Matt
will love this
Damon
one.
walking on the field of Fenway Park in the first 10 minutes of the movie.
Like nobody outside of Boston cares. I get it, but you can't include that much without any sort of interesting plot. It's again, it's fine. It's not
You had,
egregiously bad. Like you can watch it and you get through it. But
if,
it's kind of lackluster considering the quality of actors that are here.
if you had like gone deeper into Ving Rhames' character
Oh yeah,
as
he's there for
sort
like
of
5 seconds.
a special forces guy, special ops, but he's also like a PI, he's also a cop.
You know what's really sad is I actually think, in terms of film time, we see his tank more than we see him.
We also see the back of his jacket more than we see his face.
Hmm.
True.
I can't remember the letters. There's three letters on the back of his jacket. It's not
I don't know.
BPD.
No.
They gave him no job. It's essentially just it's like a goon. He's like a complex goon. That's what they gave him.
But he has a tank.
Man, he has a tank. That's like half his character, maybe more than that, is that he has a tank. And his name is very recognizable.
Yeah, I was surprised when Jack Harlow and the chief of police killed each other. I was surprised after that point we didn't sort of get a little bit more about the police involvement in the mayor's conspiracy.
Yeah, there's absolutely no plot. Like the entire plot is mayor corrupt, cash in safe. That's
I
it.
don't
I
even get an
and I kid you
explanation.
not.
Like, it's not even a why, it's just he's corrupt. He's not doing it for any reason. He's not, you know, embezzling. He's not stealing from hospitals. He's not.
Well, we have no idea. They don't tell us.
It's just Mayor, like you said, Ben. Mayor has money he shouldn't have, which
Very, very bare
is
bones.
as a concept for a film fine. As your seed of what you're building your heist movie on, you're gonna put together these, this odd couple of characters, right? A divorced ex-Marine and an alcoholic ex-con. These two odd couple characters, you're gonna put them together, they're gonna pull a heist. What are they stealing? Well, the mayor has stolen, or the mayor has become corrupt and he's losing the election. He's trying to hold on to power and he's got this large sum of money that he probably shouldn't have. That's your concept. That is your bare bones. Like I said it in multiple sentences, but that's like your elevator pitch of what this movie is.
Yeah,
Take
extremely
it and
boring.
go further. Before you finish the script, before you shoot it, before you cut it together, and before you release it, build on your concept.
Well, again, I
Just,
think a lot of people
just
just
carry.
rely on the cast. I mean, we'll see if Wolves is any different. I'm curious because when
I
they say that it's written just for George Clooney and Brad Pitt, I am suspicious.
I'm also suspicious. I don't know who's direct is. It's not Soderbergh, is it?
No, I don't think he would do this. That's not his style.
Soderbergh's only done a couple of movies in the last few years. I don't think he would do that. But again, you got two guys from the Ocean's trilogy pulling a job together, just like this movie. Again, I think either film would have benefited from, or
Oh,
I mean,
it's John Watts. It's your boy.
John Watts is doing it.
Yeah.
All right, I might have a little bit more faith in it
And he
now.
wrote it. So if
Um,
it's not good, then we know that John Watts is a sham. He's a fraud held up by the Marvel Cinematic Complex.
Oh God, guys, there's a sequel already in there's already a confirmed sequel.
for Wolves,
Yeah, I know. I saw that.
The Wolves.
I didn't see that.
Okay, this is gonna be terrible.
It's just
That's that's
There's no
October,
way
right?
this is good.
At the very least, the trailer was kind of fun.
I don't care about trailers. I don't even watch them anymore. I just go into the movie. They lie to us half the time. They're using takes that aren't even in the movie. I won't
Just
stand
because
for it anymore.
just because the best line in the Morbius trailer and the best line in the Madam Web trailer weren't in the movies.
Sony is lying to you.
Yeah.
Anyway, this movie is, as Max said, fine. I don't know. There's not really much else to say.
Yeah, I think bottom line for me, it's an hour 45. It's a heist comedy. If those are your stipulations for a movie that you will sit through, you'll at the very least find a couple of reasons to like this movie. You're also going to find some reasons not to like this movie. It's a mixed bag. But again, even if you're just a Matt Damon fan or a Casey Affleck fan or a Hong Chow fan, Academy Award nominee Hong Chow, like you can go into this movie and find something. Direct to streaming or not, thank God it's direct to streaming, by the way. Like this movie is a movie. It's not
It's a movie.
necessarily your
There you go. That's pretty much it. It's a
it's
movie.
not your summer tent pole. Like last month we were talking about Twisters and Deadpool and Wolverine
Right,
and
right. It's a
big
movie.
box
They
office.
get it. George, they get it.
I'm filling time, pal. Um, yeah, no,
You don't need to fill time.
it's a movie. Max?
Yeah, that's it.
All right. Well, this has been a whole heck of a lot of fun. We're just gonna kneel it out to the end of the episode. You can check out The Instigators on Apple TV Plus. It's streaming there. Let us know your thoughts about it. We are coming back at you next week. We are going to space. We are going to the Alien franchise. Let's talk Alien Romulus, latest entry in that sci-fi franchise. Ben's excited. Max is excited. I'm excited. We're gonna have some fun with it. But in the meantime, watch some good movies this weekend. Watch some good movies next week. We'll see you for Alien Romulus next Friday. Have a good night, y'all.
Good
Yeah.
night.